Illegally Deaf is a podcast about overcoming obstacles. I'm Danny Burnside, and just this year, I was diagnosed with severe hearing loss. Oh, did I mention I'm a professional Hollywood voice actor? Funny how that goes. I've made the decision to own my disability and interview remarkable guests who are thriving in light of being disabled. Welcome to the Illegally Deaf podcast. J-Man, how you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good.
I didn't know you were a huge baseball fan. That's right up my alley.
Oh, yeah, I love baseball. I grew up with it. My dad got me hooked on the Chicago Cubs because he's from Chicago. We go to all the spring training games. I did play t-ball.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. If I recall here, the Cubs and the Diamondbacks are both NL teams. Let's say they meet in the NL Championship. Who are you rooting for?
I would probably have to go with the Cubs.
In Game 7, at least, so you get your money's worth. Folks, my guest today is a radio host, a podcaster, a streamer, a puppeteer. Super interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan J-Man Adler. So, folks, Jordan was born with a rare bone disease, which was led to him being in a wheelchair. He was diagnosed with 3 different types of anxiety. He was sexually harassed by a medical provider at the age of 14. He's been framed for something he didn't do. He's dealt with stalkers. This could be like a 3-part episode, Jordan.
Yeah.
We definitely have a lot to chat about. Right when I saw you were a baseball fan, I was like, oh, we're going to have plenty to chat about. I've been a huge sports fan my entire life.
It all started with baseball, and I like basketball, kind of like football, but not too much. I like college football more than the NFL.
What is it about college football that you prefer over the NFL?
How they act, how the stadiums are. Seems like the college stadiums are more accessible than the NFL stadiums.
Are you a Phoenix Suns fan or more a Chicago Bulls fan for NBA?
Suns, definitely.
Well, you got a stacked squad this year. You should definitely be making a deep playoff run.
Yeah, I've been watching them. They're actually playing pretty good.
Okay, so Jordan, tell us real quick about the rare bone condition you were born with and how that led to you being in a wheelchair.
I was born with a bone disease called Osteogenesis imperfecta, which means my bones break easy just by doing nothing, really. I could be just sitting here talking to you, and I could be breaking bone, you know. It's that simple. My mom got it from her dad, and then I got it from my mom.
Did that lead to you being in a wheelchair from birth on, or did you have the ability to walk for a few years in your childhood?
I got therapy when I was 1 or 2. I started getting therapy. I used to walk in Walmart, but then I got my first wheelchair when I was 3. My mom would carry me around in her wheelchair, and I would put my arm around her shoulder, and she would carry me around like that. I probably had 7 wheelchairs in my entire life because every 5 years you're supposed to get one.
That frequently, huh? Every 5 years they recommend a new one.
Yeah, every time you outgrow your chair, you get one. And I was growing a lot. So I have metal rods in my femurs that's protecting my bones. Wow. And I only have pain when it's actually cold outside. So me going to Canada, no, not me.
Hilarious. How old were you, Jordan, when you had those metal rods installed in your femur?
I think I was 3 or 4, maybe.
Pretty young.
My last surgery was in 2012. They put the rods in where it actually grows with you. I haven't grown since. I'm only 4'8". I'm not going to get any more taller. I probably won't have no more leg surgeries, but the last one I had was probably the worst one I ever had because my knee collapsed during surgery when they was inserting the rod in, so they have to go through my knee to put it in. I was under probably I think it was an 8-hour surgery.
Oh man.
That was hard because I was having a hard time going to the bathroom afterwards. It took the medical assistant to actually get me out of my bed. He said, you have a free room in the hospital. So we went out to the hospital, and my dad got me an iced coffee, and we went outside in the gorgeous hot weather that Arizona has. I was sitting in front of the fountain, and I guess the water and probably the heat from the sun would actually make me want to go bathroom.
Wow.
We ran back into the room, and I started going to the bathroom, and then they let me go.
Did your family move to Arizona to kind of assist your condition, or was that just a completely random coincidence that you moved to a hot weather state?
With my grandparents dying and my sister going crazy, in my mind she has died, but not physically. She's still around.
What's the backstory on that as far as you're comfortable sharing?
My grandparents died from within 6 months of each other, and I would go to the nursing home and see them. From this day, I can't go into nursing homes. I get panic attacks and I get anxious really bad if I go into the nursing home. It just brings back all those memories. I can't go in a nursing home ever again.
Wow.
It was that bad. But then my sister went crazy and she did all the drug dealing stuff with her boyfriend, and she got sent to an all-girls home and for a few months. She went to juvie for a little bit. She got out, and then she started helping around the house. You know, she would help me if I broke. She would carry me around and put me in the car, and we'll go to the hospital every time I would break. It was very rough and hard growing up because I couldn't do that much stuff that the other kids do. I did have a wagon that my dad would push me around in. I went to the park, you know, go on the merry-go-round and the slide. But that's about it. We did have a baseball field in the apartment complex, which is actually pretty cool. So I went there and played a little bit of baseball.
You said your mom has a similar bone disease. How is she doing physically these days?
Yeah, she also has my disease, and she also is in a wheelchair. She also can drive. I don't want to drive because I have all my panic attacks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually doing pretty well. She's like 64 now. She had like 2 strokes. She has a brain aneurysm in her brain that's like affecting her mental state. Yeah.
Let's lighten it up real quick before I wrap back to some heavier questions. How did you fall into puppeteering? That is such a unique hobby.
Yeah, I've always loved puppets. I always loved the Muppets. I thought it was so interesting. Sesame Street was the bomb.com back in the day. I loved everything about it. I looked up YouTube videos. I even watched how Elmo became Elmo. I love it so much to the point where I just want to do that now because it gives me more purpose in life. Yeah, I started doing the radio and podcasting, but to me, for the puppet thing, nobody can like defame a puppet. And I've been getting all dramatic traumas and all that stuff. I was getting bullied a lot, especially on YouTube. I used to have my own YouTube channel where I do vlogs and stuff, but with the puppet thing, I actually changed everything. So now I post videos of like educational episodes for kids, and I want to focus my attention on kids.
Very cool.
And teach them stuff with the puppet and interview people as the puppet. It's like I'm disguising myself. The puppet has another voice, a different voice. I worked on that for 6 months for the voice and how to do puppeteering. I've learned and taught myself just by watching YouTube videos, watching behind the scenes videos of all the Muppets and stuff. So I taught myself how to do it. I love it. It's my new career.
So how did you fall into an interest of broadcasting, like a radio? Did you love the radio growing up as a kid?
Yeah, I loved radio back in the day. I still do. My first interaction with the radio was probably in the car with my mom, and she was listening to Cher. I listened to Radio Disney back in the day. I love what they was doing. Ever since then, if I wake up singing, it's going to be a great day.
I'm a little bit older than you, but are you familiar with an old radio disc jockey named Casey Kasem?
Yes, he's like my icon.
America's Top 40. You know, I loved the America's Top 40 growing up.
That was one of my first compliments I got as a DJ was someone said, "You sound like Casey Kasem."
Wow, top tier compliment, Jordan.
Thank you.
I remember being in the back seat of my mom's car on the way to church Sunday mornings, and that would be the America's Top 40 hosted by Casey Kasem. I remember that. I was probably 8, 9 years old. Okay, so let's talk about how you were sexually assaulted by a medical provider when you were 14 years old. This is someone who's supposed to be assisting you and helping you, and all of a sudden you find yourself being sexually assaulted.
Exactly, yeah.
What happened?
A lot. A lot happened. I can talk about it now, but back in the day, like I used to be able to talk about it. I remember it like it was yesterday, and that's how bad it was. It was the week of Thanksgiving. She was a fill-in for my other caregiver that was sick with the flu. She came on days that she wasn't supposed to come, too. She was like stalkerish. When no one was around, she would like cuddle next to me and, you know, start like hugging on me and stuff, which was kind of weird. And like she was saying that you can't tell nobody about this or anything. Back then, I didn't know what all that was because I was just barely learning what sex was and all that stuff. She said that her car wasn't starting and her daughter couldn't come pick her up. So she had to spend the night with us, which was weird. Around that time, I just had a leg surgery, so I couldn't get into my bed, so I had to sleep on the couch. She was supposed to have been sleeping on the reclining chair, but she didn't. She moved over to this other side of the couch and like wanted me to go over there with her, started cuddling next to me, and she started like French kissing me and put her tongue down my throat.
Wow.
She touched my private parts, and I was up all night that night, and I was falling asleep in class, which I never do. My teachers were worried. I was getting worried. And then Thursday was Thanksgiving. I normally eat 2 plates full of Thanksgiving food, and I didn't this time. I only had a little bit. So my mom was going to get worried that, oh, something's not right with him because he's not eating Thanksgiving food. So then my other caregiver that was sick came back on that Friday. I started telling him about it. So we called the non-mercy number, and they sent out 2 cops to question me about it. I went to the police station to talk to them. I was getting paranoid and everything. I had to go through counseling for that too, because it was not good.
Thank you for your courage telling that story. That's very brave of you. And again, you were only 14 years old at the time. You're still figuring everything out yourself.
Yeah.
How about some situations that maybe you spilled your heart to someone, they did not meet you halfway?
So yeah, recently, like last year, I had probably known this girl for like 9 or 10 years. And it was getting to a point where I started feeling things for her. And she kept coming over. She would make all my birthdays so special. She came to my baseball games. She came to some radio event I did. And I thought everything was going good. I planned it out so nicely. I made her like a Lego key. I made it like a key to my heart. I put all of our pictures in a photo slide thing. I wrote her a letter. I actually made her a Lego stop motion video that was like 2 minutes long, but it took me 4 hours to make. That I don't think she appreciated that much. She came over. I had planned to do it on my birthday. I did it. It was like the most crappiest feeling I ever felt when someone that I actually care about. Like, I don't know, it was all awkward and she like broke my heart. I felt numb afterwards. I wasn't acting like myself for like a few days after that. On the night of my birthday, I sent her a voice message explaining my feelings to her. She messaged me and says, I listened to like half of that message that you sent last night. She didn't actually hear the part of me like explaining my feelings to her. I held her hand and told her everything. It was just so awkward, Danny. It was like, I felt like she didn't like care. She was probably my worst one. My first girlfriend, her dad, he was on the phone with me and threatened me on the phone and said, like, don't talk to her ever again and stuff. And then I had a feeling that she might have been cheating on me. So I asked her about it, in front of people, like in the classroom. And I shouldn't have done it that way. I didn't want to do it over the phone because that's not the right thing to do. So I tried to tell her at school, and that was the wrong thing to do. And I guess her mom didn't like the way I yelled at her in classroom. So I haven't talked to her since 2016. I saw her at my friend's birthday party in 2016, and everything was great. When we talked, we updated each other. Her mom wasn't there, so she was like free. She was like freely open to talking about everything. But once her mom is around her, she goes completely silent and she acts like I'm not even there. I was good with her for 9 months. It was the best 9 months of my life, Danny. It was so amazing. We had our own love story. It was great. I miss her to this day. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to get over her and moving on.
I really applaud you, Jordan, for just the willingness to put your heart out there like that.
I'm like hopeless romantic too.
Yeah, it sounds like it, but I applaud you for that. I think there's folks who are not disabled that view disabled people and maybe they just see their disability. But actually, disabled folks are just people who have desires, passions, and that's true in romance as well. Disabled folks want to be loved and loved, just like everyone else. Tell me about this story about you getting framed for something.
So I got framed for sending a nasty pic of a naked person with the word yummy on it to one of my supporters, especially for radio people and business people. I don't do that stuff.
Right.
I know better. I'm not going to send a nasty pic to anyone. And so I was sorry that happened to them. It was hectic. And then I found out that my phone got cloned. I didn't know what the heck was going on.
I'm sure we all have some pics in our camera reel that we do not want the public seeing. Well, let me ask you this, bud, as we're coming towards the end of our time together. Let's say someone's listening to this interview that's in a similar position to you. What would you advise this person given their situation?
I would tell them to believe in themselves. They will go far in their life. I end all my radio shows with that motto because you never know when it's your last day. I just keep believing in myself. A lot of people quit doing what they love to do, trying to put a smile on someone's face, make someone laugh. That's what I tend to do with the puppet thing. You just got to find more passion and purpose in your life. That's like the main thing I can tell somebody, is that they have to find passion and purpose in their life somehow.
Well, I have such mad respect for you, Jordan. In the face of gigantic medical challenges, you daily find passion and purpose. It's so admirable.
Thank you.
I really applaud your courage, buddy. I mean, you are just a brave individual. And it seems like even when you get knocked off the horse, it hurts. But it seems like, Jordan, you always get back on.
Yeah, I try. It takes me a few months or maybe a few weeks to get back on the saddle, but I try hard to get back on there and look around, you know?
Guys, check the show notes, and I'll make a direct hyperlink to Jordan's channel in the show notes. You can also catch Jordan on Instagram and X/Twitter at Jordan Adler J-Man. All one word, JordanAdler J-Man. Jordan Adler J-Man. Jordan, I really mean it, buddy. I got mad respect for you. Thank you for so openly sharing your story with us. I think so many of us are inspired by just listening to you talk, bud.
I definitely appreciate it.